mind of a madman, sorta like Einstein. Between genius and insanity lies a fine line. It be building up the man in me heavy when I rhyme, pushing weight like a felony headed for mad time. See, I'm comparable to MJ in his prime. Think I'm giving up the crown for America's pastime. My best days still ahead of me. I see my prediction. Nostradamus with the mental position. My intuition keep on guiding me like God's GPS, and I be messing up my blessings every time that I stress. I read my final chapter, my book of life I win, and I be constantly reminding myself my patience run thin. But in due time you gon' remember my name. He's a spectacle with rhyming in the set that he claimed. But no gang banging, I'm just bringing it back.
Hotel brothers and sisters, Black Power, giving all honor to the Creator, giving all honor to the ancestors, as well as my sister, Chief of Staff, Brother Harris Abdul, of the Street Law Soldiers, my father, my in-laws, my subscribers, and all of the brothers and sisters that are fighting for the liberation and salvation of our black nation. Today, what I wanted to talk about is something that is plaguing the black community more than anything, and that's infant mortality. That's the #1 killer in the black community. I was going to do a pictorial presentation, pictorial video as I usually do, but again I'm having some video difficulties. Therefore, I'm just going to freelance and freestyle as I always do. I never used a script to do any videos. It's always been just research and just verbally coming off the top. That way it's easy for me to remember more than just reading a piece of paper. Not saying that I won't ever do it, but I'm just, right now, I've been freelancing since I've opened this channel up. And until I see the need to, I'll continue to keep freelancing. The pictures you see of these two white bitches, the top is Margaret Sanger, founder of Planned Parenthood, and at the bottom is, you know, Hillary Clinton, the bull dyke, the racist bull dyke. And let me tell you something, all crackers are racist. If you get them to the point, you get them mad enough, those the ones that said that they're not. If you get them mad to the point, they will show their true colors. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know, you'll be a nigga 100 times. And so, you know, those who, you know, I don't have a racist bone in my body, I'm not racist, man. Those are the most dangerous motherfuckers, because they're able to fool you and at the same time be among their own kind and just, you know, show their true feelings and then disperse information that they've gotten from the black community with their own. That's why they're so able to dissect us in so many ways. But however, this pictures the Margaret Sanger, who the founder of Planned Parenthood, who always said that Negroes, black people, were weeds and they needed to be exterminated. She said that back in the 20s. And Hillary Clinton, who said that Margaret Sanger is basically one of her iconic role models, that she is a gifted, talented angel as far as she's concerned. And now a lot of you don't know, you were running around trying to vote for Hillary to outvote Donald Trump, which Hillary is 6 in one hand, Donald Trump is a half a dozen in the other. So, you know, remember Hillary Clinton was the one that said that your black youth, your black children and grandchildren were nothing but super predators. And they need to be dealt with and put away forever. This is what she said. And her husband, Bill Clinton, during the Clinton administration, who incarcerated more black people in the history of the United States. And you all bought into Bill Clinton because he played a saxophone and wore a size 13 shoe and smoked weed. See, there's a lot that you don't know about the Clintons. Number one, when Bill Clinton was governor of Arkansas, he had a private airport in Mena, Arkansas, where they were dropping, flying thousands and thousands of pounds of cocaine into Mena, Arkansas. Bill Clinton was a drug kingpin, which the Clintons murdered over 200 people, including their own chauffeurs, bodyguards, and personal aides included. And get the DVD called The Clinton Chronicles, and it will explain everything about these Clintons, everything that they've done in terms of pushing cocaine, pushing tons of cocaine, and at the same time murdering people. They were big in the coke business. And so, you know, people broke their neck to vote for Hillary Clinton opposed to Donald Trump, which makes no difference who we vote for. You all should have known that and learned your lesson from Barack Obama. And a lot of you still praise him, even though he shitted all over the black community. I don't even know where to start to show you the shit that he's done to the black community. You know, but I'll give you just the minor things. They're doing the Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, Philando Castile, Eric Gardner. Obama never visited their families. You know, but at the school, the elementary school where that fucking cracker was shooting and chasing staff, children and staff out of the schools, Barack Obama personally went to these crackers' houses, sat in their living room, broke bread and shedded tears with these crackers. And at first I was upset about it, but when I knew I had to just evaluate some shit, that Barack Obama has a white mother who was a spy, a CIA spy, that that's the cracker in him. He believes that he's a cracker. He's only black and he uses his tan when it's convenient. But nevertheless, Planned Parenthood started in the 20s. And believe it or not, they were incarcerating black women, our ancestors, for having too many babies, for having too many children. And if if a black woman had a child and the father was not around, that was considered a crime, even though they ran the black man out of the house, which they do today. They run him out of the house by way of unemployment, by way of the prison industrial complex, by way of the drug trade, to make him less than, where the black woman is unable to tolerate an ex-con with substance abuse issues that is not working, which is too much of a burden on the black family. It's not that the black woman hates the black man and doesn't completely understand. Yes, she understands to a certain degree, but at the same time, it's about, you know, the children. It's about the family at the end of the day, opposed to one person. And so, you know, Planned Parenthood has been a nuclear bomb in the black community. is the #1 killer in the black community. Everybody thinks that AIDS, black on black violence, is the #1 killer in the black community, but it is infant mortality. There's a Planned Parenthood in every hood in America. Every black hood, there's a Planned Parenthood, because they encourage our young sisters to abort their babies, to abort these kings and queens, telling them that you're too young to have a child, you haven't finished school, and all of these other lame ass excuses. And I call them excuses because you're talking about the murder of an infant. Why is that so acceptable in the black community? That we go like it's nothing to the slaughterhouse and let the cracker burn our babies alive in the womb. You know, if you look at one of my old videos, you will see where I had pictures of our black kings and queens in their own blood. I've been to Planned Parenthood facilities in Washington, D.C. And, you know, I know what goes on. It's a slaughterhouse. It's a chemical slaughterhouse. And what they do now is they offer rewards for our young sisters if they murder their babies. In other words, if they get an abortion, they give them tickets to Six Flags. You know, shopping, you know, go $100 gift card to go to the Foot Locker. You know, for killing and murdering your baby. There is no excuse for infant mortality in the black community. There is no excuse. And for those who think it is an excuse, now you may have some exceptions in terms, maybe rape or things of that nature. But if you are conscious enough to lay down and create, then you must raise that child. You must take responsibility. And if you're unable to take responsibility, and if you have no family or anyone who is able, because everyone has some family member somewhere, first cousin, second cousin. I don't believe in that first and second, but cousins and aunts and uncles that are capable of raising a child. Going to Planned Parenthood should not be on your mental list at all. You know, adoption, and that's another thing. We have to stop allowing these fags, these white bull dykes to come and adopt our babies. You know, and even if you have children, there is nothing wrong with adoption. You know, these children need a home. These children need a home. They need a set of parents, the right parents. And if you are able to raise a child, please get involved and do so. Save a baby's life. Save one of these children. Because every 48 minutes, a baby is aborted in the black community. And this has to stop. This has to stop. I believe it's 48 seconds or 48 minutes. It's one of the two. But neither should be a part of the black experience, a part of the black community whatsoever. That's the #1 killer in the black community. And we need to step up to the plate. You know, we don't have any political strength. We don't have anyone in politics that is standing up for the black community that is not in the back pockets of the system of racism, white supremacy. We have no one. And so when they, yell this shit out, because what they do, they use the black church mainly. And they press the clergy, the pastors and preachers and priests of the black church to press their congregation, their members to vote. To the point that if they don't vote, they make them feel like that they're not worthy of God's praise and all of this type of mental fuckery that they use to get votes, because all of the black churches are in the back pockets of some politician, some congressman, some councilman. And so in return for the support and the money that they get, the hush money, that's why you hear a lot of preachers claiming that they do not get a salary. And that's a straight out lie. All of them get a salary. They may not be on a specific payroll in terms of a paycheck, a paper paycheck or direct deposit with a certain amount every week or bi-weekly. But just the tithes alone every week is far more than their paychecks. And so, they press their members to vote. All of it is politics, politics. And no one in the black community comes off and comes out a winner, no matter who's in office, no matter who is elected, no matter who is selected. The black community does not win in any way. So we have to stop listening to the lies that they tell us about what they're going to do. For instance, Washington, D.C. has never had a female mayor that put in some serious fucking work. This is the second female mayor. Both the females were bisexual. And their agendas were totally fucked up, where it catered to the white community in Washington, D.C. The streets in the hood, in the black community, the streets are all fucked up. Potholes, even public transportation falling in potholes and manholes in the black community. But yet in the white community in Washington, D.C., the roads are smoothly paved. The sidewalks are thoroughly cleaned. The police patrol just like the slave patrol. It's a particular area in Washington, D.C. where white police will pull over or stop any black male that's walking or riding. And I know that from experience. And so another thing I wanted to discuss with you all before I get back on the Planned Parenthood, the abortion. I'm going to start using abortion, the term abortion. You know, because this Planned Parenthood, it's not, you're not planning to be a parent when you're murdering your child. It should be called murder parenthood, not planned. But anyway, if you look up the reason why the black community catches so much hell and there's no repercussion from the black community, there's no fight back from the black community. For those who read, for those who know law and understand politics and understand history, that if you read the entire U.S. Constitution, the United States Constitution, that these devils can legally murder black people. Legally. And that's why no one is held accountable for the murder of our brothers and sisters. This is the main reason, because whites know that in that Constitution they can legally kill a black man or woman, and there's no repercussions behind it. Also, you can incarcerate a black man and woman under false pretenses. And so I've always wondered, why isn't nothing done about the straight up murder of our brothers and sisters? Clearly, you can clearly see our young men being unarmed and still being slaughtered in the streets, and these policemen walk. Even when they show the film of a young innocent black man being murdered with he has no weapon, not running or anything, and just up and murdered, and then the jury acquits this motherfucker cracker. So what do we have to do to put an end to this? I can tell you easily what needs to be done that will be successful, that will make changes. And I've been saying it for several years. But we are too afraid of the white man to do anything about it. You have to have that same energy and rigor to take the cracker's head off his shoulders as you do your brothers or sisters, in which most of you don't. You're only a gangster when it comes to someone that looks like you. You're only a goon when you're in the black community. When you are around whites and you are in the hands of the whites in their community, you have no buck in you whatsoever. None. You got about as much buck in you as a paralyzed motherfucking rabbit. And so the way that we can clear all this shit up is that you develop. You have to develop, and it takes time to develop that same rigor and energy to take the cracker's head off his shoulders as you would your brothers. And I hear a lot of brothers in their 30s, 40s, 50s, you know, talking about how much work they have put in or will put in when it comes to someone that looks like them. You never hear them talk about putting in work on these motherfucking crackers. You never hear that. Because of the overwhelming level of fear that the black man has towards the white man. It's an overwhelming level of fear. And by you knowing that, it makes you extremely frustrated and angry at yourself. And the way you release that anger is you take it out on someone that looks like you. And those who think like that are cold-blooded, fuck nigga, coward-ass puss boys. You know. And so being a motherfucking goon means that you just got a lot of this woman thinking and woman motherfucking emotions. Cause see, you are over emotional and you don't know how to handle your emotions. So you'll use a slick term such as goon or thug because you are so over emotional that you think that you can rumble or shoot your way out of every motherfucking situation, or that motherfuckers are scared of you. I remember coming up, you know, I learned from my father. You know, I learned this trick where I would make motherfuckers think that I didn't have any fight in me, that I was non-violent and all this shit, until they got to a certain level, or they got close to me, you know, close enough, and I would straight put the motherfucking smash on their ass. You know, and that was one way I was highly, highly respected. You know, when I was functioning on a very low frequency, when I was on self-hate mode. You know, and that's why I don't talk about or brag about that type of shit, because it's nothing to brag about. It's really something to be ashamed of. That you are a slave and you're on the plantation, and instead of trying to run away from the plantation and linking up with like minds and leave this motherfucking plantation and kill the cracker on his way out, you walk around the plantation trying to fight other slaves for nothing, just to see who can beat who's the toughest fucking slave on the plantation. But in real life, you're the weakest slave, because if you're so tough, why haven't you left? Why haven't you made any plans? Why haven't you set out a format for us to leave? Motherfucker, if you're supposed to be so goddamn tough and rough and hardcore, that's just being over emotional like a woman. Over emotional like a woman. And so, you know, and that's one thing that we have to stop functioning on, is this emotional shit. I'll give an example. Brother Dane Calloway, who has done extensive research on our ancestors, and come to find out that a lot of our ancestors are the so-called Native Americans, the indigenous people. Although Africa is the cradle of civilization, we've had, our ancestors were here too, as well as Africa, as well as the continent. And so the slave trade did exist. And see, these are some of the things I respectfully disagree with Brother Dane Calloway. He doesn't say that the slave trade didn't exist. You know, I have issues with the numbers that he's talking about. However, you know, based on my own research, I found that that we were here, and this was called Turtle Island. You know, until this motherfucking cracker came. Until this cracker came. And it's even written in the books throughout by our ancestors that before they could see the ships coming with these crackers on them, they smelled them 7 miles away. Because they were on the ships, having sex with each other, catching rats on the ships, biting the rat's head off. They knew nothing about how to cook or any of that until we went to Europe. The Moors went to Europe and attempted to civilize this cracker in the year 711 with disinfect, hot water, running water, toilets, hair clippers, street lights, bridges. They had none of that. Corrals to separate the cracker from the animals, because that's where chicken pox come from. The cracker was laying with the chickens, and while they were asleep, they were being pecked by the chicken, and that's why a person with chicken pox looks like they've been pecked by a chicken. And so we done all of that. They had pubic hair. The women had pubic hair that was, over a foot long, hanging out of their vaginas, dripping blood. They had no sanitary napkins. We gave them all of that. We taught them all of that. The first hair clippers. And told them they could not have sex with animals because they were just tearing these dogs up. And that's why they say the dog is their best friend, man's best friend. And I see them in the community picking up the hot shit with the steam coming out the dog's ass. They picking up the hot shit with their hand in a little plastic grocery bag. While this motherfucker walks up and down the street barking at anybody that's melanated. Because I was about ready to kick this motherfucking Labrador Retriever, kick his motherfucking throat straight out his ass. Because he put on a hell of a show. Because he's been trained to go against, people of color. So when he put on that performance, I didn't feel low or embarrassed or anything, because it's a clear example of how this motherfucking skinny little Harry Potter looking motherfucking faggot ass cracker that looked like he letting the dog bust his motherfucking back open. This motherfucker, got the barking and all this shit like he was coming towards me. Now I already had it in my mind I was gonna kick his motherfucking his Adam's apple would have came out his ass. And so, that's the love that they had for these motherfucking animals. But nevertheless, we're gonna get back with that and other topics on the next video that's coming up shortly. So until again, brothers and sisters, Hotep, Black Power.